On this week's episode of Be More Super, the podcast, I'm so excited. When I started the show, 7 months ago, there were two stars I wanted to get on. One was Jane Seymour, and the other one was Doug Jones. And we've got Doug Jones. Welcome to the show, Doug.
Oh, it is my absolute pleasure, and it is even my bigger pleasure to be coupled with Jane Seymour in the same sentence. I have been a fan of hers since 100 years ago.
Somewhere in Time is one of my all-time favorite movies.
That is my all-time movie, yes. And I finally met her at the AARP Movies for Grown-Ups Awards when Shape of Water was up for a bunch of awards, and I saw her. I dashed across the room. I was like, "Hi, Jane. I'm Doug Jones. I'm in Shape of Water, but I love you. I love you." Ah! Yeah, I made a fool of myself.
Oh, she is so English, though, isn't it? Even though she's lived in the States for so long, she's like proper Queen's English and very
proper Queen's English. Yes. And her American accent is really good too. And she did all those TV movies and Dr. Quinn and I first saw her as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader in a story that was an expose on them back in like the 80s maybe.
Yeah, and you know what? During the interview, I don't know if it was an exclusive, but she mentioned that her and Christopher Reeve were an item, which I didn't realize.
No, I never heard that.
She said on the interview, it's going to be out there, that they fell in love on the actual movie. They became lovers, but then they sort of split ways. And she even told a story about how she met Dana, Christopher Reeve's wife. And I was thrown back. I didn't realize, and I'm a massive Christopher Reeve fan. So I was just really, really amazed.
Yeah.
So how are you keeping yourself busy, and are you safe? Because you're located in LA at the moment, is that anywhere near the fires that we're seeing all over the news?
Yeah, anywhere in California right now is somewhere close to a fire, unfortunately. Right. But no, here in LA, we've been fine. The sky is a bit hazy and a bit orange at times, but no, and today's pretty clear. It's all right. We're fine.
Oh, good. And how are you spending your time during the pandemic? Because I know a lot of stars have been very creative, writing books, writing movies. It's going to be great once this pandemic's gone, because the world is going to be full of beautiful ideas
of new art. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I followed suit with all of that you just said. I wrote 4 chapters of a novel I've had in my head for years. I got a literary agent who is now like reviewing it and helping me fashion it. And this novel's loosely based on me from 20 years ago, by the way. It's a character that's kind of like a young actor guy who's doing creature works. So we'll see how that turns out. I've never been a binge watcher before. I have binge watched so much on Netflix, like series, the number of hours of television I've watched now are, but I never have time for that. So it's been great. And also interviews like this. There's been, the Zoom thing has opened up a whole new world of speaking engagements and convention appearances that you can do from your home. So I've been busier than I thought I would be, honestly.
That is good. And do you know what? Doing this interview, I was very worried about questions because you have got so many interviews on YouTube. Literally, you could spend the whole day doing Q&A, because we know you as the creature guy that's been in near enough every movie out there. But the first thing, before we jump into Star Trek Discovery, I want to talk about my new favorite movie. So the other night, it was 2:00 in the morning. My 2-year-old wasn't sleeping. I've been searching for this movie, and I finally found it on YouTube. It is called My Name is Jerry.
Oh, thank you for that. My favorite human I ever played. Yes.
Oh, and do you know what? It's written, directed by Morgan Mead, who I've been who I've been chatting to as well, who I'm going to get onto the show. Because I love the movie so much. I think everyone should see it. So how did the part come about for you? Because apparently it was made for you.
It was indeed. Yeah. Morgan Mead, who you mentioned, was a film student out here in Los Angeles way back in when the Hellboy 1 was coming out in theaters, like 2004. He contacted my agent, wanted me to get in his student short film, like thesis project for his film school. I read it. I met him for a coffee date. We talked for 3 hours, and that sold me. I'm like, I want to be in not just this short film, but anything else you do. Yeah, I think you're brilliant. So we did the short film. It was wackadoodle fun, and then he went back home to Indiana, where I come from, and he wrote this feature film. My Name Is Jerry. Sent me the script and said, I don't know if this is something you'd want to be in or not, but I wrote it for you, the lead character. So the title character of Jerry was a middle-aged midlife crisis happening guy, and I am that and have done that. So I totally understood the character, and he wrote for me with my voice, and it was really a treat. No one had ever done that before, and wanted me to play a human and to be the title character, the main face on the DVD box cover, right? So as a human, that was different for me, and we got to film back in my home state of Indiana, where I come from. So it was an absolute joy, and I love feel good. Happy ending movies, and this was all that. It was kind of romantic comedy, a little bit of like unsure what's my future, and the midlife crisis phenomenon is something that many have gone through. It's a mystery to some. It's a completely been there, done that for others, but I think a successful midlife crisis can be really a good happy life event. It can be a good milestone where you get to the middle age and you can review, what have I accomplished so far? What's next for me, at this point? And for me, in my real life, I thought like, oh, by the time I'm 40, I'm going to have that huge mansion that overlooks the beach. I'm going to have, the butler who folds my clothes for me and says, sir, would you like this tie today? And then of course the driver's going to pull the Rolls Royce up. I was just sure of all this. And that didn't happen. So you do have a bit of a crash, like, oh, it will never happen. Oh, but the successful midlife crisis puts you out at the other end of it, thinking, you know what, those things weren't important. I have what's important. I'm married to a wonderful woman. I have the best friends. I've got a family that is dear to me. My faith in God that's the best relationship I have on this earth. And so it's like, yeah, I got all that. And so life is good. And so I actually, after 40 is when I had my most successful titles, and my career took off more than I thought it would after 40. And I'm 60 now. And so the last 20 years have been fantastic. And I did it with a new perspective. Instead of letting show business define me, I kind of let these other things define me that I just mentioned. Like, I'm a brother, I'm a husband, I'm a father figure to some, I'm an uncle. Those titles are much more important.
Definitely. But that movie is such a journey. It's such a roller coaster. And I can relate to so much in that movie. And at the end, I was in tears, but
Thank
happy
you.
tears. And I've
Oh,
got to say, your performance in that movie, to say that you've done Abe Sapien and you've done loads of other amazing roles, to see you, as you said, without any, makeup on, you're an amazing actor. You really are.
oh,
You're
bless
absolutely
you.
amazing. You need to get more lead roles in films. Uh, just you. So compared to the big budget movies that you've been in, how did Making Jerry compare?
Yeah, no, I like independent films anyway. I've done quite a few of them, and I've done quite a few big budget movies as well. And there's pros and cons to both, really. But the independent film is, even though you're scraping money together and begging and borrowing and stealing locations and props and costumes from friends, it still comes with a freedom for the filmmaker. The writer, director, and producers can artistically do whatever they want, because there's no studio hanging over them going, here's the decisions we are making for you that will, this fits our demographic, this fits our advertisers, this fits our, whatever. None of that applies to an independent film. So that's
Yeah.
the beauty and the freedom of it. But of course, the beauty and freedom of a big budget studio film is they have lots of money, and you can make a slick production and make choices that are expensive, and crowd scenes and visual effects and things that you may not have the budget for in an indie.
But you often see as well, the independent movies have got a lot more heart and soul, I think, because
I
everyone's
believe
got
so.
a lot more investment in it, and you obviously can see that in Jerry. So
Yeah.
let's move on to Star Trek Discovery. There's going
Uh,
to be released on the 15th of October. We've been waiting for season 3 for quite a while. You
mm.
play Commander Saru, and what a wonderful character it is. I've got a few fan questions very, very shortly.
Oh, great.
But how has COVID affected the show? Has it affected the show in any way in the way of release?
Slightly, yeah. The release of season 3 has been pushed back a bit because post production. We were done filming season 3 at the end of February. So just like 10 days before the lockdown started, we were done, and everyone
Right.
flew home. And we filmed in Toronto, so we were done. I was back in LA, and I was already on a hiatus, already on my break, and then COVID hit. So it was like, well, that was selfishly good timing, but post production with, like, ADR voice looping and visual effects and musical sound scoring and all those things had to be done. Like, we have a super team of people on the show, a bunch of very talented creative people in post production, and instead of being able to do it at a facility, at a studio lot, they had to do things at home off their own computer systems. But these guys are, and gals are all set up with technology, and they know how to do all that from home.
Yeah.
And even musicians doing one part at home, and then that goes, all gets fed together. I don't know how they did it. It was an amazing process, but we're able to finally release I think it's about a month later than we were planning to originally. So October 15th it is. Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Oh,
And
cool.
here in the States anyway, season 1, as a little pandemic treat, season 1 will be coming out on broadcast television on the CBS network, starting September 24th on Thursday nights.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm very excited that hopefully that'll broaden our audience. And what we lost with the streaming services is the channel flipper. The
Yeah.
casual person who's flipping channels and lands on, oh, what Star Trek Discovery. We lost that because you have to go looking for it either on CBS All Access in the States or
Yeah.
Netflix worldwide. And so we lost the casual fan. We have the devoted fan for sure, and God bless all of you for that.
Yeah, I mean, the
So
fan base is unbelievable, but I think that this new show has definitely attracted a lot of new fans. You know,
yeah,
maybe not the ones like from Will Shatner days. They obviously are watching, but I think the younger generation that never saw the original, your Nichelle Nichols and Leonard Nimoy's
yeah.
and all that cast. But playing Saru, you had some great storylines. Which one was your favorite to play out?
Oh, well, here's the beauty of series television as an actor. I get to know my characters so much better this way. And we got much more time,
Yeah,
now that I've completed 3 seasons, and the writers can take and can unpeel the layers of a character, and you can get down to backstories and feelings and, hidden talents or hidden fears or all kinds of things. So my favorite, I think, part of Saru's journey so far was that liberation from the threat ganglia. When I just living in fear all the time. And in season 2, I think it was around episode 4, where he noticed that he was feeling ill and was going through that Vihari that he'd heard about on his home planet. And Vihari was, he thought, the end of his life. This is where your body starts transforming and you go crazy. So it's best to do a mercy killing and be done with it. At least that's what the Kelpians, my race, were taught by the Ba'ul, the ruling race of alien on my planet. So with this predator species hanging over us and telling us, oh, it's time to cull you, it's time to take you to your merciful death, and we just went along with it. And now I'm by myself on a starship away from the planet. I'm the only Kelpian who's ever done this, and I'm going through this Vihari, thinking, oh well, this is what we've been taught is the end. I got through the Vihari, my threat ganglia fell out naturally, and I now have no fear anymore. Like that innate fear of like looking over my shoulder, like, where's the danger? Gone. And now I have a newfound sense of a new presence with myself. And you come to find out that Kelpians have hundreds more years of life that we never knew about. So I did basically Vihari
Oh, you've cut
So now
out.
we could go on and become adult. That was just a very liberating, and I got to bring that message back to my home planet to say, hey, everybody, guess what? And to
Yeah.
liberate the entire planet and all my people. That was a glorious moment.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, I'm looking forward to season 3. Are we going to see more of Saru in season 3? Are we going to see more
Oh yes.
storylines?
Oh gosh, more. In fact, more than before. I think even. I think I had more screen time in season 3. I think even.
Oh, that's
I
amazing.
had
I
to
mean,
memorize more dialogue. That's for sure.
and the trailer looks absolutely awesome. So, what does a typical day look like for you on set? Because obviously, you've got to get all the makeup. I presume you get there a hell of a lot earlier than the rest of the the cast. I mean, what does a day look like for you typically?
Well, uh, of course, my day starts a smidge before the other actors because the makeup process does take a bit longer to make me non-human. But it's not as long as you might think. That right behind you there is you can see Saru sticking his head over,
Yep.
looking over my shoulder. That looks very intricate and very detailed, and it is. But most of that work has been done beforehand. So I would say that makeup takes weeks to make. Because it's at the creature shop in Los Angeles. They do the molding, the sculpting, the molding, then the making of the pieces and the pre-painting of those pieces. Then that gets sent up to Toronto, where my makeup artist will do the attachments and application onto me. That process only takes about 2 hours. Normally, an hour. If you were building this from the ground up on an actor, it would take between 4 to 8 hours, depending on how intricate. So that my 2 hour makeup process is just a little bit more than someone putting on a wig and some funny ears, so it's not that bad. And then we have about a 12, maybe like a 12-hour shooting day. And then after that, my makeup removal is only about 20 minutes because it goes on in 4 different pieces that they have to blend the edges together and then kind of clean up around the eyes and get everything blended. Then I have contact lenses. I have gloves that go on really quickly. My costume is just like, a uniform like anyone else's. And then my boots are a little bit tricky with the high heel position with no heel under it. But then at the end of the day, all that just peels off, and then they slit my head up the back and just kind of peel it off this way, and then use a little bit of removers. It all comes off in one big piece. About 20 minutes falls right off. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, hours to put it on, minutes to take it off. Bless you. Have you ever kept anything from Star Trek at all?
Well, normally what they've been doing with these pieces, once they come off, they usually cut them up and put them in the trash so that nobody can like dig them out later and sell them on
Yeah.
eBay. Um, I kept one, so I do have a complete Saru headpiece that's it's on a life cast of me.
I mean, props and costumes from the
Yeah.
shows have become
No,
so collectible now. It's
they're collected.
unbelievable. I
No.
mean, the sponsor of my show is Prop Store, and they're based in LA and based in London, and they've just sold a Harrison Ford jacket recently from Star Wars, and it went for something like $400,000.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, so yeah, keep hold of everything that you've got. It's your
Yeah, well,
retirement.
no, if I can, but right. I mean, with Star Trek Discovery, costumes and props, I think they all know the value of them. So we don't. I don't get to. The props are heavily guarded and have to go back into their right compartments, and they're policed. Yeah.
And was you a Star Trek fan before you took on the role of Saru?
I would call myself one of those casual fans. I was a channel flipper who landed. That's why I know so much about this channel flipping idea.
Yeah.
I was one of them. And whenever I landed on either Next Generation, Voyager, Enterprise, Deep Space Nine, I would stop and go, "Oh," and I would just watch.
Yeah.
Now, the original series was fascinating. When I was 1966, that came on the air. I was watching that first run with my family. I was about 6 years old then. So 6, 7, 8, I was like taking it and going, space travel, is it really possible? Yeah, I did all that thing that we all did the first time.
Yeah. Right. We're going to move on to some fan questions. So here we go with James Benkey. Benkey. Do you think sometime in the future they will bring Discovery back to its original time with Spock and Captain Pike?
Do I, that's a question for the writers and for the Alex Kurtzmans, the showrunners of the world, and the Michelle Paradises. But yeah, well, I think, well, they, I think that it was announced. Discovery started about 10 years before the original series, and now of course at the end of season 2, we jump to the future. So season 3 takes place, when we land 930 years beyond. So that's exciting. So we've kind of skipped all around the original series now. We were before it, and now we're long after it. So, but if you remember season 2, we borrowed Captain Pike from the Enterprise. Spock was a big storyline, pre-original series time. So then they were such a popular hit that the fans were clamoring for a series that would just focus on Pike and Spock, right? And number 1, played by Rebecca Romaine. Yeah. So I think that from what I understand, I think it was announced that that's in the works. That's
But the great thing now going forwards, now you've gone into the future. It's
so will that sit?
Sorry, we're breaking up. Bless you. So the great thing now is because obviously you've gone into the future. Literally, you don't have to follow any of the sort of Star Trek sort of storylines in the past, or follow any storylines. You can start anew, which is great.
Well, right. The writers don't have to adhere to previous canon. They can now create canon from here forward. Yeah. But that Pike and Spock series might be the one that might lead you into the original, the Kirk storyline. I don't know. Maybe I would hope they would, because that would give us all a geekgasm.
Yeah. So we're going on to Christopher Diloway. Is there a monster or creature role that you would like to play that you haven't already, or a director or filmmaker who would use his awesome talents to the fullest that he hasn't worked with yet?
Oh gosh, and I have done so much now with my 35-year career, that if you'd asked me this 5 years ago, I would tell you, yes, there's one makeup and creature that I haven't played that I would love to. I've always wanted to play a classic vampire, and never felt pretty enough to be, or sexy enough to be, a Dracula. Certainly not a sparkly teenager, in that other franchise. But I always connected with and understood Nosferatu with his hideous, look. And sure enough, I now have I did get to play Count Orlok Nosferatu in a remake that is not out yet. So it's been a long process getting that out, because it was done on an independent budget with a lot of technology involved. So it's coming. So my one last dream role bucket list check off has been done. So now at this point, I'm actually looking to hopefully remove rubber and glue from my face and do more of those My Name is Jerry type movies. Do more. I'm a big fan of the Hallmark Channel. The feel good, happy, low stakes problems. The worst thing that happens in a Hallmark movie is like a little misunderstanding. So it's like, so if I can, I'm at an age now where I can play the dad of a grown woman who's going through her relationship issues. And if I can just hold a mug of cocoa and wear a Christmas sweater and give her some great advice, that's my dream role that I would love to do from this point.
Well, to be honest, you wouldn't have to go through hours of makeup and everything like that. So it would make it a lot easier for you. So we've got a question here. It's quite a deep one from Tony Reynolds. How does acting within the many amazing roles you've been part of affected your personal life and your own personality? Do you carry forward residual inflections into your own personality?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it is great.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I'm the type of actor who is able to clock in and clock out at the end of the day. I don't drag home all of my roles with me, and they don't become a part of me so much. Now, when I'm working, the two of us do have to intertwine. My character and me, we do know each other very well. We have intimate relationship, my characters and I. No matter if they're good or evil, I have to understand them, and I have to love them, and I have to sympathize with them, even if they're doing horrible, awful things. And I've done a lot of horrible, awful things on film. So But like I said, at the end of the day, I have to remember, nope, I'm just Dougie. I'm not a creature A or B. I'm Dougie, and I'm going to clock out and go home and be Dougie. And remember those things. That's been key to my sanity over the years too.
Yeah.
We've heard lots of awful stories about other actors who would spiral downward when they dove so far into, especially the dark characters, to find their way through that particular film or TV show. And I think at the end of the day, I'd like to keep my sanity and sleep at night.
Yeah, it's a good choice. Do you carry still a business card on you?
Oh,
Just out of curiosity, because I heard a story of that. Literally, the thing that really changed your career was a business card. Do you still
with
carry them
Guillermo,
with you?
the one that I handed to Guillermo del Toro in 1997 that he still had in his wallet in 2003 when we were making the first Hellboy movie. Um, no, I anymore. We're in the digital age now, and I still have the old ones with an old phone number on it and before email. So it's not one I would hand out. Yeah,
Well, it could be a collector's piece, couldn't
it
it?
could be.
Really, you could
Sure.
sign it and,
Sign it
and
and frame them. Sure.
yeah, exactly. So, on to obviously Comic Cons and conventions, because I was speaking to Derek Mackey from Cool Water Productions,
Mhm.
absolutely lovely gentleman, and he said that you were absolutely amazing at conventions. You love giving the hugs, but unfortunately now that's sadly gonna change for the time being with the convention scene not going right. So obviously you're doing virtual Comic Cons. You've done a few with In-House Con with Derek, which I watched the Hellboy one with Selma Blair.
Oh,
Absolutely
great.
amazing. It's really,
She a
really good.
doll. Yeah.
Oh, she's lovely. Absolutely lovely, lovely lady. And have you got any more planned coming up for anyone that might want to see you, you know, online, being able to do a one-to-one, being able to purchase autographs?
Right. I think you caught me at the end of my current calendar. I don't have any, but they come up fast, and it's a fast turnaround on the virtual conventions.
Right, okay.
Like even this interview with you came up fast, and we're doing it fast. So,
Yeah.
I looking ahead in the months ahead, I'm sure there will be, but I don't know about them yet.
But if anyone wants to grab a lovely autograph, they're on the Cool Water Productions website at the
Yes.
moment. So they can grab those. So anything else planned for you? So what's next for Dougie Jones?
Right. Well, I just finished a feature film called The Knocking,
Oh,
and it would be
sounds.
I'm the one doing the knocking. Okay.
Oh,
So again, it was one of those evil characters that I had to dive into, and I did not want to bring this one home with me at all. He was really dark, but I don't know have any idea when a release on that is going to be. But it was Defiant Pictures that pulled this together, and they have a great track record with the horror genre. And so it'll be a good release whenever it does happen. But we just finished filming a week ago,
yeah.
so yeah, that's exciting. And then and whatever else is coming, I do have something else coming up that I have to travel for the first time in 6 months. But I'm not allowed to speak about that just yet.
Do you know what? Every single
Oh,
person
oh,
I've been.
oh,
Oh, yes. Yes.
one more fun thing I just got a message today that I can talk about it.
Okay.
Um, I did. There is a very popular YouTube channel called Bat in the Sun. You might be aware of this.
Right.
They do lots of DC Comics short films, and they have Kevin Porter plays Batman in a lot of them.
Right. Okay.
He's a friend of mine. He referred me to their filmmaker, and sure enough, I got to be in the most recent Bat in the Sun short film. It's called Batman Dying is Easy, I think. Is it? Anyway, but it's going to be coming onto their YouTube channel. Their YouTube channel has tens of millions of views,
Wow.
and millions of subscribers. So they're very popular, and their productions are extremely slick and very feature film looking. And drum roll, you're the first person I've been able to tell this to, so this is an exclusive so far.
Yes. Yes. I like exclusives.
But I do a cameo in this next short film that Battinson is doing as the Riddler.
Yes,
Yeah. So very
yes.
exciting and very fun for me.
Oh, that's awesome because obviously it's quite like a big circle because you was in Batman with
Batman
Michael,
Return.
yeah, with Michael Keaton. So
Yes,
and you got punched out by Michael Keaton, which you can say in your
did.
career, Batman, you know,
And
knocks you out.
I also got backhanded with an umbrella by Penguin, played by Danny DeVito. So I've been through it.
Life goals there. So I'll make sure I put that YouTube link onto the video as well, so everyone can check it out.
When
But
that comes
Doug,
out, it's not out yet, but yeah,
right, I'll check it out and I'll make sure to find out when it comes out. I'll make sure I'll put it on all social media for everyone to
thank you.
check out. Doug, thank you so much for your time. I'll let you get back to your day, and God bless, and I hope all the best in the future and you stay safe.
And you too. Thank you so much for having me and finding me a worthy subject for today. Thank
Oh,
you.
definitely are, sir. Definitely are. Thank you.